Hey, everyone out there in Ramblin about Racing Nation. Matt Beamer here, along with the entire crew, Charlie Hercus, Preston Lood, and Austin Reeves, to bring you the latest and greatest from the world of auto racing. We're, of course, going to talk about the elephant in the room, the Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson incident that happened in Las Vegas this past weekend. We're going to talk about Kyle Busch. Is he just not caring anymore here while he's with Joe Gibbs Racing? Preview the upcoming races from Homestead for the Truck Xfinity Cup race, as well as the COTA race for Formula One. Let's get into it. This is a production of ITM Media. Yes, it was a crazy weekend for everyone, I dare say. A great race from Las Vegas for the Cup Series, for the Xfinity Series as well, I dare say. They delivered right there on the 1.5 miles. We were kind of worried about that, I think, along with a lot of other people. But the race from Las Vegas was really good. Of course, we're going to talk about, like I said at the intro, the elephant in the room, the Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson incident in detail, get everybody's opinion on it as well as yours out there. And thank you for joining us on episode 152 of Ramblin About Racing. And again, I'm Matt Beamer alongside the crew here of Ramblin About Racing, Charlie Hercus, Austin Reeves, and Preston Lood. Gentlemen, it's been a long week and it's been a fun week, and glad to have the whole crew back together on this episode. Hope everyone's doing well. We're going to start off with Preston. How's it going, man?
That's going well. Life continues to keep me busy, so, hey, it is what it is.
I'm just glad that you're here finally. You're going to talk about racing, going to talk a little bit about Formula One coming up here. We had a little discussion off air before we started rolling here about driver changes at Haas and Williams coming up here. Hopefully we could get that squared away prior to the end of the show, because we didn't talk about it last week, but that's okay. But how's the family? Everything else going well?
Yeah, family's well. Everything's going well. Like I said, life is just busy. It's busy when you have 2 kids, Yeah, you spend your afternoons going to different events. My oldest daughter is doing cheerleading right now, so that's kind of the thing that's taking up the time in the afternoons most of the time.
Well, awesome, man. Well, I'm glad to hear everything's going well. Good to have you back here on the show. Really excited about this week. Charlie and Austin there from the great state of Alabama. Charlie, how's it going, man?
It's going all right. Just, another week. So getting ready for, I guess, our Richmond race tomorrow night, as far as that goes. Trying to take care of a 7-year-old at the same time. So we'll, just day by day with her. And that's what my world revolves around is that blonde-haired 7-year-old. So, race season in real life is over for me. So it's just dealing with all these wannabes online now.
Yeah, wannabes is an understatement, to say the least. We'll get more into last week's VRL race from Texas, I dare say, before we get into our review of Las Vegas there for the Cup Series and Xfinity. And last but not least, Austin, how's it going over there with the twins? How's the wife doing? How's everything going?
Everything's going good down here. The twins, they should be coming home sooner than later, probably 2 to 3 weeks they'll be home, so that's good. Baby mama, she's doing good too, so just ready for them to come home.
I don't blame you, man. Hopefully they get home, like you said, sooner rather than later. And that would be great. Then that's when the fun starts, when you have no help but just you and your wife, and with twins.
Yeah, that's when the no sleep comes in.
Right. And that was an understatement before we brought Maury home and Maury was born. They say, get all the sleep you can. It doesn't matter how much sleep you get. You're going to be sleep deprived. It's going to happen, but it's fun. It's fun. But yeah, like I said here, everything's going well here in South Carolina for myself and the family. Maury's now 8 months old. She's now starting to stand up and cruise a little on the couches and stuff. It's really cool to see the evolution of that and her just learning everything. And then she's starting to eat solid foods a little bit more. It's a lot of fun watching that. Now we're just worried about her choking, but I don't think we feed her big enough portions for that. But All is well here. Hope everything's going well out there for everybody, whether you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter live, or catching up to us after the live broadcast, or if you're listening to us on your regular podcast platform or Burns Radio. Really do appreciate it. We're just going to go ahead and get into our brand new opening segment. Hey, man.
Hey, man. Hey, man.
And for those of you who don't know what Hey Man is, Preston and I came up with this when we were in the Marbles Weekly Racing podcast to talk about stuff that we found online, funny comments that people made. Usually it had to deal with, and Preston, correct me if I'm wrong here, NASCAR died when Dale Earnhardt died. This is why I don't watch NASCAR anymore. Yet people still took the time to comment on NASCAR and NBC, NASCAR and Fox, NASCAR's main Facebook page, all these other platforms. Kind of funny stuff that we figured out here. But now what we're going to do is use this as our opening segment to talk about what we observed throughout the weekend. A few of us might come up with different things, but I think we're going to start off with this, the elephant in the room, the Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson incident from Las Vegas during stage 2. It was right after Charlie said, nobody talk about anything on the group chat because I'm unable to watch the race right now. And I think maybe within 5 minutes of him saying that, that incident happened with Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson. I'm just going to get everybody's first initial impressions on that. And by all means, if you're watching us on live right now or later on in the broadcast, just make sure to drop a comment and tell us what you think. But we're going to start off with Preston here. What do you think of it just right when it happened?
Boy, first impressions when it happened, I was speechless as to what I was really, because I knew immediately when it happened down like that, I knew immediately that it was retaliation without question. Had to have been retaliation.
Yeah, it was 100%. I saw it happen as well. And I know when somebody gets hooked in the right rear, and Charlie and Austin, I feel like you could speak more into this about anything. You know when it's delivered, but man, it looked like Bubba Wallace just kamikaze right into Kyle Larson's right rear, sent him into the wall. And unfortunately, a collateral damage was Christopher Bell during that whole thing, which took him out of the race due to the DVP. And now he's in a must-win situation going into Homestead and maybe possibly going into Martinsville here in the next couple of weeks. Charlie, I'm going to get your initial thoughts on this incident.
Yeah, so, catching up after all that had happened, going back, watching the race, definitely hard racing, but you can clearly tell Larson, doing everything he can to keep off of Wallace. It's clear as day there. And in the end, no need for what went down after Wallace made contact with the wall. And the part that I don't get is you can race people hard, but you can't take it. Like, you can dish it out, but you can't take it. So, and the first time somebody, runs him pretty hard, he goes off and does something like that. Like, you can say the steering hung or whatever, but the telemetry that these cars have says the exact opposite. Plus, Austin sent out that TikTok earlier or whatever about Parker Clearman, and point blank showed that he throttled up. Like, I tell you, you don't throttle up during a wreck. So, especially after you're already spinning, especially if you're going to turn left, you don't throttle up. So he did it on purpose. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I'll go a little bit further into it in a little while, because there's going to be a lot of, well, why didn't so-and-so get a penalty? But Wallace got a suspension. We'll talk about that in a little while, but he had it coming. And the big thing here is somebody could have been bad hurt. I mean, these cars have already shown that they lead to some injuries. And I hate to tell you, but if it wasn't for him catching Christopher Bell, it'd have been rear end of the car into the wall first, which would probably have led to I won't say probably, but there's a good chance it could have led into some type of injury, and then Larson possibly out for the rest of the year. So that's my take on it.
All right, Austin, what about you?
Kind of the same thing Charlie said. He definitely right hooked him. When you get caught up in a wreck and you think something's broke, you don't just throttle up. You're doing everything but throttling up. Like Charlie said, if it wasn't Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson could have got really hurt. You've had 2 races, Talladega and at the Roval, a safety meeting with all the drivers and everybody with NASCAR preaching on safety, safety, safety. And then the first chance you get, you throttle up and hook a guy in the right rear and send him into the fence at 180 miles an hour. And not only that, you cause one of your manufacturer teammates to get knocked out of the race in stage 2, and he's trying to win a championship. And the only thing you have to say is that's racing or that's sports. That's true colors coming from the number 45 driver, or 23, whichever one you want to call it.
I think you hit the nail on the head there when you said his true colors came out. Not only did he wreck Kyle Larson after the accident, he got out of his car, approached Kyle Larson on the front stretch.
True colors in a non-racial way.
In front of everybody there at the stadium or at the racetrack, everybody on national TV, everybody saw this. Even people that aren't race fans going into work the next day, and Preston can attest to this, ask what the heck happened. And he showed his true colors there. Bubba Wallace did. It's one thing to get race hard and be put into the wall and be frustrated, but he didn't hit right side or rear into the wall where he could have broken a toe link, those notorious toe links that could take you out of contention. Bubba Wallace had a fast car at Las Vegas. And with the new composite bodies, I feel like he still had a car to win the race.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Kyle Larson at Charlotte bounce that thing off the wall multiple times and still finish a race. Like, he had a crap first half of, I think it was Coke 600.
Yeah.
And still wound up finishing top 5, top 10, whatever.
No, he got wrecked.
Oh, okay.
Coming to the end of it. But he was running up front.
Yeah, well, he was running up front. Thing is, Wallace didn't hit the wall hard enough and he hit flush enough to where he'd have probably been fine the rest of the race until he decided to kamikaze Kyle Larson.
Well, and I'm going to take it a step further there. The previous day during the Xfinity Series race, similar bodies to the Cup cars with the composite bodies, the fiberglass bodies, we saw Josh Berry get raced hard, run into the wall, kept going, kept his cool, and win the race.
Yep.
So we saw the same thing in the Xfinity Series race. The fact that Bubba Wallace did that changed. I know a lot of opinions out there have already been made about Bubba Wallace, but that showed me his true colors. His colors came to the surface. His personality came to the surface. His true being came to the surface.
All this poor, pitiful me last year or the year before is out the window.
100% out the window. You can't use that as an excuse anymore.
No.
Then even Caroline said, Kyle Larson's my new favorite driver, because I have to give it to Kyle Larson. He didn't fight back, although I wish he would have. He just kept his cool, kept his distance. Kyle Larson is not going to be in trouble with this. It's 100% on Bubba Wallace. I can't wait to hear the justification from Bubba Wallace and from 2311. If I was 2311 or a Bubba Wallace fan, 2311 fan, anything like that, I would be totally embarrassed about wearing any type of Bubba Wallace stuff and trying to defend him. I have yet to find one defense line.
They're going to learn from it. That's they're going to learn from
actually, I've seen it on a race 2311 fan page. Somebody did post something that said, "I stand behind Bubba," and there was actually quite a bit of comments that were totally behind it.
And that's the thing. The fan base that follows Bubba Wallace are exactly like him, most likely, and will be the exact same way and stand behind him 100% of what he did. Whereas, I hate to tell you, Chase Elliott did something like that. Nope. There's no way I could stand for that.
Now, I will ask you guys this, since we're on the topic here, making sure we don't have any comments here of anybody wanting to comment in here. Back in, 2015? Joey Logano, Matt Kenseth at Martinsville. Matt Kenseth got a lot of praise, I think, because Joey Logano was a not so much liked driver in the garage area or in the world of NASCAR. I wouldn't say garage area, but in the fandom of NASCAR, Joey Logano is probably one of the most hated drivers for one reason or another, and we could get into that later. But when he took him out at Martinsville, a lot of people cheered. Yes, Kenseth got the race suspension as well, just like Bubba Wallace did following Las Vegas. But what is the difference here between that incident where we just talked about Bubba Wallace's true colors coming out? I believe they did. But Matt Kenseth straight up did just about the same thing. Is it the different type? Was it the fact that it was at a short track and not at a mile and a half?
Speeds.
That would probably be like priority number one, speeds.
The build up behind the entire story. There was actually a story to it between those two for weeks before. This is a one-off incident where Bubba loses his cool right away.
And you're not going 180 miles an hour at Martinsville.
Yeah, I mean, because the same punishments were handed down. I think NASCAR doesn't want their.
Kansas got a 3-race suspension.
No, he got a 1-race suspension.
I thought it was 3.
Yeah, he was just out for 1 week. But I mean, so it was the same type of thing, except I think to your guys' point, it doesn't matter if the storyline's behind it or not. If you retaliate like that, and Preston, I'm sure you've seen it in hockey. I'm sure everybody's seen it in football. And I'm a big proponent of not retaliating, because if once a retaliation happens, that's when people get hurt. I think of the Brodeur incident there, Preston. That wasn't much of a retaliation as it was trying to start a fight, but somebody got hurt and careers are ended on retaliations.
Yeah, you do it under caution at slow speeds or after the race on the cooldown lap.
Yeah, like
and you take your 2-race suspension and you go on about life.
Like William Byron did to Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin got dumped under caution at Texas. NASCAR didn't see it for some reason or another. But hey, no suspension for William Byron. Points and fine. And that was it. I think actually just a fine instead of points, actually, since they appealed it.
Yeah, they appealed it, only got fined. But my thing is Bubba's statement was, I don't lift. It's stage 2. You still have a lot of racing left.
Yeah, Bubba Wallace. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Like, I can understand. Like, if it was white flag, come off a forward to take the checkered, I can understand not lifted. But you're stage 2. There's a lot of racing left. They're not going to pay. You're not going to win the race in stage 2. You're going to win it on the last lap.
So here's 2311's statement. If y'all hadn't read or seen it, 2311 is aligned with NASCAR on the 1-race suspension issued to Bubba, and we understand the need for the series to take a clear stand on the incidents that took place at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Bubba's actions are not in keeping with the values of our team and partners. We have spoken to Bubba and expressed our disapproval of how he handled the situation. Bubba has made impressive strides this season, and this experience is an opportunity for him to further learn and grow as a competitor in NASCAR. That's crap. But as a result of the penalty, John Hummer Nemechek will drive the number 45 Toyota this weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway. It's another blanket statement. All Toyota ever does is come out with these piss poor apologies, and they're just a blanket statement. They all are worded the exact same way. The one Gibbs says all the time, whether it be from the Xfinity Series or the Cup Series or his little pit road incident, they all sound the exact same.
They do. And I can understand.
It's like Toyota has one PR person that writes all the excuses.
Right. I don't know if you guys saw Bubba Wallace's apology here as well.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
All right, but I'm going to go ahead and read Bubba Wallace's apology here. This is from Bubba Wallace. I want to apologize for my actions on Sunday following the on-track incident with Kyle Larson in the 5 car. My behavior does not align with the core values that are shared by 2311 Racing and our partners, who have played a critical role in my incredible journey to the top of this great sport. I want to apologize to NASCAR and the fans, along with Christopher Bell, Joe Gibbs Racing, and Toyota, for putting them in a situation in the playoffs that they don't deserve to be in. Kind of your bosses right there, if you ask me. But okay. I compete with immense passion, and with passion at times comes frustration. Upon reflecting, I should have represented our partners and the core team values better than I did by letting my frustrations follow me outside of the car. You live and learn, and I intend to learn from this. Bubba Wallace.
He might learn from it, but the next time he gets doored or ran into the fence and he gets angry, the same thing's gonna happen.
To your
whether he hooks the guy or not, he's gonna get out and meet him on pit road.
No, and we've seen pit road scuffles before.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you're saying you're learned from it. You're never gonna do it again. Bull crap. The next time the same thing happens, you're gonna do the same thing.
Right, and this person named Al, speaking that we're on Hey Man here, said this. This is straight from the PR department, and Bubba doesn't mean a word of it. To Charlie's point, the PR department figured they better try to get out in front of it before the meeting, because everyone is siding with Larson on this one. NASCAR better park him for at least one race, if not the rest of the season. I'm against parking him for the rest of the season.
Kansas was suspended 2 races.
Kansas was suspended 2 races. So I think it really depends on the implications. Now, had Kyle Larson been in the playoffs, I think that maybe the suspension would have been another couple races. But I think a 1 race suspension, let him sit home and watch his car drive around on the track under John Hunter Nemechek, might give him a wake-up call. This might be a good, humbling experience for Bubba Wallace. Will he learn from it? I don't know.
I doubt it.
It might be a wake-up call when John Hunter Nemechek starts driving better than he does.
Right. 100%. Because Bubba Wallace, as we all know, he's there. He's doing better this year. But he's definitely lost a lot of respect that he earned this year in that one action.
I bet he said that'll shut Kyle Larson the hell up.
I bet he did. I don't know why. What? I don't know what he thought that would happen.
That's what he thought everybody in that interview when he won the race.
Yeah, well, the interview between him and was it Marty Smith there afterwards, and him saying "Don't fish."
Yeah,
stop fishing. Stop fishing.
Okay. He's not fishing. He's just asking you a question.
Yeah, he's asking you what happened. Like, everybody knows what happened.
And I can only imagine being in a situation like that. After you get done with the infield care center, you have to do it. We've seen Kyle Busch frustrated after a race say, "Do I really have to be here? I'm here because I won't get fined." Yeah, I could only imagine being in a high pressure position or a sport like NASCAR.
Yeah, the difference between Kyle Busch and Bubba Wallace is Bubba wants the spotlight. So
ain't wrong there.
He wants that mic in front of his face. He wants the camera in front of his face.
Unfortunately, that's true. And I wish, I could say something better about Bubba Wallace, but I do have to play you guys this real quick. And this is why I like podcasting. This is why I like especially listening to the Dale Jr. Download, even though they're our top competitor and we're maybe a C organization compared to them. I'd say a good C organization compared to the Dale Jr. Download. From October 19th, 2019, Bubba Wallace is on the Dale Jr. Download. And I don't know if you guys listened to that episode, but I got a clip here that was from Stock Car Talk here on TikTok. I want you guys to listen to it and just tell me what you think, because I think it's interesting what he says here.
And I didn't really think about the right rear technique until after the race, but right rearing somebody on an oval track, that's grounds for taking gloves off and in the middle of a fight and getting your ass whooped, right? Am I wrong?
No. Anytime I think you make dump show on purpose, intentionally, it's time for
exactly. If he would and I didn't really think about.
All right, then it loops around again, but pretty much Bubba Wallace, I dare say, if Kyle Larson would have whooped him, would have literally ate his own words there, right there. And kudos to Kyle Larson.
I'm surprised that hadn't made it back to the media somehow.
Well, it's out there. Go listen to the full episode of the Dale Jr. Download if you want, from Bubba Wallace in October 2019, and you'll hear it. But that one clip says it all right there. It shows Bubba Wallace, if he was the one getting right reared, everybody would be up in arms. But now I think the true colors, and that's such a good way of saying it, his true colors came out, his true character came out, and now people are starting to see him for who he really is. And that's crazy, because Preston, correct me if I'm wrong, I've tried to defend him every which way on this show.
Yeah, you have. It's just I mean, you're right. The true colors have come out, but one of the other things that really bugs me about this entire situation is the people that come out and back him are the ones that are screaming, saying that everybody's being a racist toward him because everybody's reacting in such an awful way towards him. But I'd like to think of it like, okay, so then what about the other times that we've seen this happen before? Like, other than the Kansas situation when Kyle Busch wrecked Ron Hornaday in the trucks, absolutely demolished him. And everybody was up in arms about that. So why is it all of a sudden, because we're up in arms about another situation like this going down, all of a sudden, because it involves Bubba Wallace, you're automatically racist? That's the one thing I can't stand about this race right now, is that entire situation. And that's all I've seen online as well, is people are just completely saying that. And it's just ridiculous. I think it's outright ridiculous.
Bubba also brought that part on himself as well, with all this crap last year, the year before, or whenever it was. So he played that card, and now it's stuck with him. So I hate to say that, but
I remember people in an uproar when Jeff Gordon took out Clint Boyer in Phoenix in 2012. And people were in uproar about that. And Jeff Gordon is a way better driver than that. But when he did that to Clint Boyer, I lost a lot of respect for him during that race, during that whole thing. And it took a while for me to get back on Jeff Gordon's side. It took 1,000 attaboys to fix that one mistake. And I feel like Bubba Wallace is going to have to take 1,000 attaboys to fix that one mistake. People are going to be talking about this 10 years from now. Oh, remember when Bubba Wallace took out Kyle Larson?
Yeah, so I guess a lot of people look at it, well, Kyle Larson was just racing him hard because he's black. No, Kyle Larson was racing him hard because they were racing.
No, Kyle Larson got the run.
I mean,
because prior to that, Kyle Larson did take it 3 wide. He went shallow into the corner and washed up the track. Could he have lifted more? I'm sure he could have, but just like Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson didn't have to lift. And I don't even think they touched. I think Bubba Wallace just ran out of track.
No, I don't think they ever touched.
He ran out. Bubba Wallace ran out of talent, because there was a good gap between him and Larson when he hit the wall.
He'll eat his own words again as soon as he said, "I don't lift."
He thought that this sport and Kyle Larson owes him everything, and that Kyle Larson should have lifted.
And I will say one more thing about this as well. The folks from that you listen to, like the Dale Jr. Download, they put out a little clip it before their main show here about this incident. And they weren't addressing it. They didn't just come out and say Bubba was wrong, I feel like they tiptoed around it. And people in like Dale Jr.'s position, the guys from MRN, I didn't hear the morning drive regarding this incident. I wish I would have, because I guarantee you Dave Moody, Pete Pastrone, all those guys didn't say one thing, because unfortunately they're tied up, and just seeing their social media was,
it's more political at that level.
Don't come in here saying anything bad about Bubba Wallace.
Actually, um, on a show during the middle of the day. I can't remember what the show is called. It's got Chocolate Myers on it on Sirius XM radio, and Chocolate Myers pretty much put it out there that he pretty much blamed it on Bubba. The few people I actually heard that say, he was like, I wasn't born last night. You can see the writing on the wall, and he pretty much just said that it was all Bubba's fault and everything. And if you can't tell it wasn't retaliation, then I don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah, just don't censor people because of their opinion. You could come on if anybody wants to come on the show right now. All two people listening to us or watching us right now. If you think we're totally wrong, let us know in the comments. If you're watching this after we're done live or you're listening to it on your way to work or whatever, and you think we're 100% wrong about this, let us know. I'm not going to sit here because your opinion differs from mine. I'm going to censor you, kind of like Dave Moody does. Dave Moody is notorious about that. I'm going to block you if you're going to bring in all that negative attitude here. Come to Ramblin about racing and talk racing with us. That's all right. That's what I'm going to say about it. Anything else, we're going to beat a dead horse here. Bubba Wallace suspended for one race here in Homestead. John Hunter Nemechek taking his spot. Anything else about Bubba Wallace before we move on here to another topic that I want to bring up here?
I'm surprised he didn't get a fine as well with it.
Well, it's going to
Well,
hit.
you can't do too much. You don't want to piss off everybody.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get a fine either. But one race suspension, I think, is a good precedence for NASCAR. Good on them for doing that and not just
They'll give the fine to Hendricks.
Yeah.
Yeah. How dare you?
They're actually going to fine Kevin Harvick.
Yeah.
How dare you put him in a position and put him 3 wide? How dare you, Kevin?
They're going to take away Daniel Suarez's only win this year too.
Yeah, true.
And
Anyway.
for it.
Okay, here. Next topic here on the docket. Kurt Busch announcing that he will not come back full time in 2023. A lot of people saying this is in the Venera. I'm sure that's not the way Kurt Busch wanted to go out. I'm sure he had 2 or 3 good more years in the car. And a qualifying accident backed into the wall at Pocono, took him out. Unfortunate. I wish him the best of luck. I loved watching him race. I was fortunate enough to see him ironically win at Pocono in 2016. Thoughts on that, gentlemen? I think that's not the way he wanted to go out, but that's the way he's going out.
Yeah, I like you said, I think he had 2 to 3 more years left in him. I think him going to 23-11 with Toyota, he was really going to turn that team around, and he has. They're running a lot better than what they did last year. I hate to see him have to retire because of a crash at Pocono, but it is what it is. I wish him the best.
It's sports.
Yeah, it's sports. Like it's.
I think.
No, it's true though.
I know, but
I see where
it was definitely out of his control. I hate to say that, but concussions are just some of those things, and it's not something to take lightly by no means. And Dale Jr. is a big advocate on that. Like, hey, don't rush to get back in the car. So, if you are having symptoms, get them taken care of before you get back in that car. So,
yeah, I totally agree. Preston, your thoughts on that after the nice post there from James?
I'm about to say, Preston's got some haters.
Yeah,
I do. I have plenty of haters.
Fun watching those guys talk crap about Preston.
Yeah, they love to. The whole Kurt Busch thing it's definitely an unfortunate situation. Like everybody says, you hate to see people's careers cut short with certain things like this. And Pocono is a track that is very dangerous, especially with the cars we have right now and the the history of the people getting injured. I mean, you're running damn near 200 miles an hour, if not higher than to turn 1, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. At Pocono,
You used to be over 200.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't know about now.
It's still pretty fast.
Yeah,
we've seen dangerous accidents.
You're over 180.
Yeah, we've seen dangerous accidents before. Example, when Jeff Gordon, when his brakes failed into turn 1, and he absolutely demolished the wall.
Yeah, Ken Schrader
And
in
he was-
2004 when he backed into the wall and flipped.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's unfortunate. Hope to see him back soon. A few races here and there, but hopefully NASCAR fixes this safety issue, this rear end. I think they have something ready. They're just not going to implement it till 2023, which I can understand. But at the same time, why not fix it now? If you got to fix it now.
Especially when these cars are literally clipped. Like they're not, from the looks of it, they literally, the rear ends bolt on, and at least the design looked like that on the illustration they were showing of the corrections they were going to do. So it didn't look like it would be that hard to go ahead and implement all that. So I don't know why they would wait.
That's okay though. Hopefully this does fix the issue. Hopefully we could get past this. And
I do think there should be some changes in the seating as well. Somebody else brought that up. Like, there's plenty of, it may have been Preston. There's plenty of padding in the sides, but there's not a lot in the back. So, that's easy to change. Like the head and neck restraints are made to keep you from going forward to a certain degree. There's plenty of side padding, but there's just not a lot whenever you go back other than the padding really in your helmet. So, there could be some changes there as well. So,
yeah. And the last one I have to say that I've noticed about this weekend, I think Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch's brother, obviously, is about done with Joe Gibbs Racing. I think he's at the point now. He had a good comeback here. He finished well. I think he finished third.
Yeah, finished third.
Considering that he spun.
Yep. Then had a loose tire or had tire come off.
And the tire come off. So his crew chief's done until Daytona. Or maybe I think after Daytona. What is 4 races? So
yeah, they'll miss the rest of this year and then the Coliseum race, and then come back after the Coliseum race.
Which won't affect him either, because I don't think he's not leaving with him going to Richard Childress, is he?
I don't know. I haven't saw anything about that. But you guys think Kyle Busch is done? He's just ready to move on. I think a lot of drivers are, including Tyler Reddick. He's ready to start anew after getting screwed over by Richard Childress. I feel like he got screwed over.
Yeah, I think they should just let Austin Dillon go to 2311.
That would make sense.
So speaking of Dillon, I know we're talking about that, but Ty Dillon's going to Spire with Corey LaJoie.
That's going to be a good combination. I think that team's going to be right up there with the Trackhouse Racing, the 2311 Racing here towards, I think, mid next season. We're going to start seeing those guys' names being a factor here. And of course, Front Row Motorsports, Preston's team in NASCAR, is putting on quite an impressive run with Michael McDowell here. So I think we're going to see a lot of changes in 2023. Should be a lot of fun. And that was it. That was Hey Man. That was our opening segment. Long opening segment, but a good one. Let us know what your guys' opinions are. Oh, we got some opinions here. Oh, this is from Amanda. I don't know.
She's okay. She's one of my ex-lovers.
Oh no. Okay. Oh man, I tell you what, I'm not looking at these comments as they come up here, and now I'm seeing them. And the last one here, we can only hope Kyle is going. Oh, there you go, there, Charlie.
Golly.
Have I met Amanda? I don't think I've met Amanda.
Yeah, she was.
She's the one who drove Jason out after Saturday night.
After the Saturday night fight night.
They live right. They live in Columbia now.
That's what Jason texted me on Messenger and said, "Hey, we're in Columbia now."
Have a good day, Matt.
Okay, one sec here. James Mayfield said rear clips can't be implemented immediately because the chassis manufacturers can't build 36 rear clips in a week. That makes a good point. That's unfortunately the single source of failure.
Yep.
When you have the teams not being able to build them, and I think that's why Rodney Childress and Kevin Harvick have been up in arms here as of late. If you can't have the teams build them, and one last thing here, I know Amanda, you are not white trash. I met you; you're a lovely person. Okay, I know that was fun.
Breaking up. Okay.
Go back and listen. Go back and listen.
Yeah, I even got my shirt on. The dang collar on the neck still stretched out from it.
Go back and listen to Saturday Night Fight Night if you missed that.
Matt's probably got his flip flops on and everything.
I got shoes on. It's cold here in South Carolina tonight. But that was it. Anything else before we move on to our race reviews and race previews here? Race previews shouldn't be that long here. Anything else though?
We're going to talk about our Texas race with VRL.
We will talk about our Texas race for VRL, okay? We'll go ahead and do that right now. VRL Texas race, an utter disaster, at least for me. And again, I have to apologize to Charlie and Austin, and I think Preston as well. He was in the chat and watching it. I made a complete jerk of myself that whole race.
Matt lost his cool very quick. He pulled a Bubba Wallace.
No, I didn't wreck anybody. But
you said you were. You said I ought-wrecked that guy. You said that probably 4 or 5 times.
You were asking who it was.
You ain't kissed a bumper yet.
I was.
He did kiss a bumper once.
I drove through the guy, so
I was pretty upset with that whole thing. Now, here's what made me more upset about anything with that VRL race in Texas. 30 minutes, like maybe 10 minutes before the race, we sat and listened to the driver's meeting for 30 minutes.
This was Las Vegas, like in
30 minutes.
Virtual at Texas.
We sat there and listened to these guys. We can't drive aggressively. We can't do this. We can't do that. And they came and the VRL organizers came out with this whole list saying, if you cause an accident, you're going to lose points and you're going to be suspended. And all these things, just a cumulative thing came up here. And for 30 minutes, we listened to everybody talk. We got to be better drivers, better series.
We got to give. We got to take. You got to do this. Got to do that. Like, don't do this. Don't do that.
Yeah. We start the race, and Charlie and Austin and I start in the back, and we weren't even caught up to the field. They needed to delay the start by one more lap to bunch everybody up. I was running full throttle when they ran green flag. So I slowed down, and these couple guys passed us, and in turn 2, lap 1, chaos ensued, and I was caught up in it. And I had to use a fast repair, and I was just laps down after that, and I was just so mad. Now, unfortunately, because I was upset, I started running my mouth. Charlie and Austin are just doing their thing on our communication channel, just talking about the race.
Man.
And man, was I
that feeling.
I was mad at the world.
What's funny is I didn't hear nothing that Matt said during the race because he didn't say anything. And we were clicking off laps, had a caution. Matt, you still with us? Leave me alone. I'm like, all right, I won't talk to you then. I go back and watch the stream.
Oh, man.
Every time that I said something, Charlie said something, I need to beat these guys. I hate these guys. Or said, shut up. I'm like, Matt, we're communicating. We're teammates.
I know.
I was texting Matt that entire time.
So he felt like he got ignored, like nobody was.
No, that's not what I felt like. That's not what I felt like.
It's a weird feeling when your team's not.
Talking about Bubba Wallace can give it, but he can't take it. Huh. Shit.
Lap 1. Lap 1 after.
I was mad too. No, you
were at least in contention.
I was still mad though.
I was done. And
right.
Thanks to our let's all race. Let's all give each other more space, and let's all not race each other. There were 3 cautions, 1 stage break, and two other cautions, not including the one I think that we were involved in on lap 1. I couldn't get my laps back. Done the whole time.
I went a lap down, don't even know how.
I don't even know how that happened either, buddy.
I don't either. But it's just
It was
one guy. I told y'all before the race, don't sail it off into 1 and 2. You will spin out. And old dude split me and Matt, and I said, watch out, just don't get caught in a wreck, and I'll be danged. He spins out, collects another truck. I drive through him, and then Matt throws his pity party.
Well,
Goes
about
silent for-
about 3 days later, Matt,
I say a day
makes a
later.
Toyota apology in a text message, and I was like, "Look, buddy, it's okay, but I just want to say one thing."
Yeah.
And he's like, "What's that?" And I was like, "It's just a game, buddy. It's just a game."
Because our first race at Michigan, Charlie was down, out, pissed,
Man.
this, that, and the other. And Matt was
Livid, son.
Don't-
Absolutely livid.
Charlie, it's just a race. Charlie, it's just a race. Calm down, guys.
That's all I
It's
heard.
just a race. And I'm like,
They didn't listen to me the whole race. Try to talk to them.
Well,
Nobody
and
listened.
at Texas, I'm like, well, Matt, it's just a race, so there's no
It's a video game.
reason to get
Video game. Yeah.
And what really got me was I don't see how these guys do it in real life, hot and sweaty. I'm like, yeah, Matt, I don't think you could survive running 500 miles in a road race car. You would. You'd Chastain somebody. You'd Matt Kenseth somebody. You'd Bubba Wallace somebody. You'd Tony Stewart throw your helmet at somebody. You do all these things.
but you would know my name.
You would. We would know who Matt Beamer was.
Again, I apologize for that, guys. That was totally out of character for me. My PR guy will write a statement and I will sign it.
I mean, I called a caution out and said, hey, they're wrecking, check up, caution's out. Matt, I can see. I don't need I can see.
Never said that. I know.
Whoa,
you
now.
better go back and listen.
Whoa, you better go watch your Twitch, sir.
Yep.
'Cause I said
see
caution's
the
out.
caution.
You said, I know, I can see. I can see.
Yeah, I can vouch for them. I was watching the Twitch stream, and that is pretty much spot on. Sorry, Matt.
Press and go away.
So, I got it solved. I have a push
Well-
and talk button and I have a mute button, and I'm going mute the next race.
Needless to say, I think I do remember that. Okay, you know what? That was a bad
Yep,
race for me.
yep.
You know, I don't want to.
You think that's bad? I don't know how many laps are running, but it's Richmond this week.
I don't know how I'm going to survive that. I'm probably. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I mean, I did good. I started 38th and finished 13th. So
Good job, buddy. I mean, you did great. I mean, I think I saw.
back's kind of hurting today, though.
I just quit after that. I just quit Discord. I just left the stream. I left everything. I think I said goodbye, thanks, see you later. And
Matt was very quick to sign off the Twitch stream.
I made a Ramblin about Racin Motorsports Twitter account, and within that day it got suspended. I think I said a few things on there or something. I think I posted a picture of the truck crossing the finish line saying, "Hey, come watch the race," and they suspended us for copyright violations. I don't know what that's about. So, needless to say, Ramblin about Racin Motorsports Twitter account is suspended, but
Well,
still follow
y'all
us.
may have more points than me, but I've won more money.
Shut up, Charlie. Lucky.
You got lucky one race, and you won $5. You won
Oh,
$5.
Oh, it was horrible. Anyway, needless to
you've
say,
won virtual points. I've won real money.
it's true. It's true.
Ooh.
Well, needless to say, it was a horrible race. Again, I apologize to you guys and everybody else watching. It was anyway.
You gonna
Las
learn
Vegas-
from it?
I've already learned from it. I'm probably I don't know if
His actions does not fit the
the core values
values of
about racing
our
motorsports.
motorsports.
There it is. But yeah, that was the VRL league. It was horrible. Go watch it on YouTube at Triple A Broadcasting. Lap 1, turn 2. Matt Beamer into the wall.
Yeah, hey, the broadcasters did shout us out, so kudos to them.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we're getting our name out there. That's all that
And they
matters.
saw that green 6 trucks when they shout us out, so another.
They probably had it now too. Oh, and by the way, I was running the Santos Strong paint scheme there, and I was hoping to do well to promote the T-shirts for our friend of the show who's going through battling stage 4 cancer. And if you want to support that, go to ramblingaboutracing.com under the stores tab and buy a Santos Strong shirt. All proceeds will go help her and Catherine and her family out.
Well, if
Do
you
this
want to change the
horrible.
paint schemes
Yeah,
for this
that's-
week and do something, me and Austin was thinking about that because we ran paint schemes for a race the other night, and we're thinking paint schemes has a little bit of bad luck. And not talking. All right, we're not superstitious, But we are superstitious.
Okay.
Very.
So if you definitely want to do something there and like throw in a little bit of that kind of stuff, hey, by all
All
means.
for it.
That's right. Okay. Well, and now Las Vegas here. That was VRL. Anything else again? Richmond tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. I believe it is 8:30.
8. Well, yeah.
Follow our social medias and we'll make sure to share that. AAA Broadcasting on YouTube as well. Make sure. Okay. I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious there from Brian. I'm glad we're getting comments. And then Amanda here. Charlie's being and getting bad luck awards.
I've been getting them for years.
But I say we're leading the points in the bad luck awards.
Oh. There you go, James.
Oh man, Preston, this cat does not like you.
He's actually one of his best friends.
It is one of my best friends.
I completely understand. I say the same thing about Charlie all the time.
Right. It's fun picking on your friends like that. So Las Vegas, Josh Berry squeaking out the win there in the Xfinity Series. Great race there, as well as Joey Logano in the Cup Series. Needless to say, my Final Four bracket looking good. The rest of you guys didn't have faith in Joey Logano. I had faith in the Logano.
I did say Logano or Blaney squeaking in. One of those two.
Okay, fair. But I thought overall,
Bell might be out of the picture now thanks to being bubbled.
Yeah,
it's racing. It's sports.
It's sports right there.
But
I think the both races, the Xfinity and Cup race, delivered there in Las Vegas. It was kind of status quo there for the Cup race at stage 1, but then once Kyle Busch spun, everything went crazy. The second and third group started coming in. We saw a lot of good racing, better than I expected. Great racing for the finish with Chastain and Logano. I thought it was great. Looking forward to Homestead. Much of the same, I feel, especially with all 3 series racing there. And we can't forget to mention Haley Deegan making her Xfinity Series debut there at Las Vegas, finishing 13th. Good for her. Now, I'm not saying right now, go ahead and get a contract out for her. Not one race does not a career future make. I'm sure Danica ran well in the Xfinity Series as well. From time to time.
Ran that many.
She didn't run that many, but when she did, whatever. So needless to say, we'll see what happens with Haley. I don't expect her to see her in an Xfinity car until 2024. That's just me. But we'll have to wait and see. But she made her debut. Congratulations to her on that. Gentlemen, anything else before we preview Homestead and COTA for Formula One? Because that's about it for Las Vegas. We talked about everything there, I feel.
Y'all didn't trust my Final Four in the Xfinity, and now Barry's in the Final Four.
No, you're 100% right. Forgot to mention that. Barry's in the Final Four.
So I was leading the race at Las Vegas, and I got chastained.
It's okay, buddy.
I protested.
I saw that.
Oh, you talking about iRacing?
Yeah, he's talking about iRacing. Yeah. You didn't get Chastain. You got.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you got. Like,
I got bubbled.
You got bubbled 100 straight up, dude.
You got Bubba.
Yeah, dude.
Bubba stained. You got Bubba stained.
Oh yeah,
Horrible.
That was bad. I was mad for you. But anything else before we get into Homestead here?
Nah.
All right. Homestead races coming up here for the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup race, as well as COTA here. The Truck Series race is going to be Saturday, October 22nd at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on FS1. Xfinity Series race Saturday, October 22nd at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on USA. And Sunday, October 23rd at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on NBC is the Cup Series race from Homestead. Really looking forward to Homestead. I really enjoy that racetrack. I wish it would be more of a prevalent track like it was back in the day where it was the final race of the season, but baggers can't be choosers here. And the Formula One race from Circuit of the America, October 23rd at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's going to kind of clash with the Cup race, in my opinion, but not really clash with them. So winners for the Xfinity Truck Cup and the Formula One race. Preston, you're back here for the first time in a long time. I'm going to start with you. Who do you got winning the upcoming races here this weekend?
Sorry, you lagged there for a second. Truck Series, John Hunter Nemechek. Xfinity, Noah Gragson. Cup Series, I'm going Tyler Reddick because he's pretty strong when it comes to Homestead. Formula One race, Sergio Perez. Why not?
Okay, Sergio Perez. Or why not here? All right, Charlie, you want to go, Austin, or you want me to go?
I'll go. Truck Series, I got Ryan Priest.
Good pick.
Xfinity, I'll go Allgaier.
Go on.
Cup Series,
I feel like
Elliott.
yeah. Okay, good one.
And F1. Not that it really matters. Who's Hamilton's teammate? Who was it?
George Russell.
Russell. I'll go with Russell.
All right, George Russell there. I'm going to go so nobody picks my pick here. Hamlin for Cup. Hemrick for Xfinity. Stuart Friesen for trucks. In Formula One, who cares? Max Verstappen already won the championship. He's going to win the race. Who cares? Austin, it's up to you now, buddy.
All right, so trucks, I had John Hunter. He's already picked, so I'm going to go with Ben Rhodes.
It's not a bad
Xfinity,
one.
I've got to go with Noah Gragson because he's going to seal the deal. Cup Series, I'm going to say Chastain Watermelon Boy gets it. And then for Formula One, I'll let y'all pick because you know how I'm going to pick. So.
Well, I already picked Max Verstappen, but who cares? We'll give you Charles Leclerc. Why not?
That's a good one. Not bad. Not bad.
That's not bad.
No.
Tell you what.
Ferrari will screw him somehow.
Somehow. Tell you what, Austin. I'll give you Max Verstappen. I'll take Charles Leclerc.
I don't matter.
You can get the reigning World Series, the winning the champion right there.
Well, I mean, technically he's reigning, yeah.
Yeah, technically he's reigning. Man, that brings up a good point. Junior Motorsports will have a good run at Homestead. I totally agree with that. And in case you guys missed it, Preston lags and immediately blames it on someone else. I completely agree, Brian. And that was it for our show. Getting ready for our final thoughts here, unless you guys have anything else.
I'm good.
All right, let's get into our final thoughts here.
White flag, white flag. White flag, white flag. White flag. 1 lap to go. 1 lap right here.
Final thoughts here on this week's episode of Ramblin' About Racing. If you joined us all the way through here, really do appreciate it, especially the comments from Brian, James, Amanda. Really do appreciate it. I like the fan interaction throughout the show. And I've noticed something here with Preston here. We get a lot more fan interaction here. So, Preston, you are obligated to be here the rest of the season. And it's only a few more weeks. It's only a few more weeks until we're winter break here. So there's no excuse whatsoever why you can't be here. I don't want to hear excuses. I want to hear solutions.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Very well. Fair enough. All right. Final thoughts here as we head into getting ready for Homestead. And a handful of races to go here in the Cup Series for the 2022 season. And then our wrap up and then our Christmas special. And we're done until February. Should be a lot of fun. Can't wait. Looking forward to season 5 of Ramblin' About Racing. Lining up a lot of great things coming up here. You don't want to miss it. And you definitely don't want to miss the conclusion of this season of Ramblin' About Racing. And like we do at every end of the show, this week in NASCAR in our fantasy standings. Charlie, do you have those fantasy standings pulled up, or you want me to do this week in NASCAR first?
No, you can do this week.
All right. This week in NASCAR, October 22nd, 1995, Ward Burton scores his first NASCAR Winston Cup victory in the AC Delco 400 at Rockingham. Points leader Jeff Gordon finishes 20th, but still clings to a 162-point lead over Dale Earnhardt. And that happened October 22nd, 1995 in the old Winston Cup lore of NASCAR. And Charlie, our fantasy standings, and again, disclaimer here, I totally forgot to set my lineup. It doesn't matter.
Come on, Matt.
I
Do better, Matt.
have no excuse. I blame BRLs.
There ain't nobody to blame.
Yeah, well, if Preston can blame me on the lag, I can
Got
say
a point on that one.
I got that. I got to blame someone. Might as well be Preston.
All right. Oh, Matt, you're still sitting 7th. 4,970 points.
Consistency.
6th is SMR R&D with 5,580. 5th is S Blades with 5,583. Preston, which one are you, SMR?
He's operations.
Yeah, SMR Operations is 4th, 5,638 points. 3rd is Matt Camper with 5,667. 2nd is Super Sumo 32 with 5,722. Still 1st with 5,913.
Oh boy, it would take a miracle with 3 races to go here for you to mess that up. I think you might have this one, Charlie.
You ever met
Just call
Charlie
him Max
Hercus?
Verstappen already and just
Yeah.
give him a championship.
You obviously don't know me very well.
Have you ever like followed Charlie Hercus in any type of thing he's led?
I trip over air.
I mean, we had 5 laps to go in the Xfinity race the other night, and I was spotting for him, and we were running the leader down, and we had a caution.
Which one is James?
James is SMR R&D, or 2-time defending champion here at the Fantasy League. And
They will be leaving fantasy, shifting their priorities to football, fantasy football.
Yeah, fantasy football. Needless to say, we get a lot more fan interaction with Preston and show. Preston, you're a very underrated person here at the show, and I think you bring a great deal to the show because you're the original, you're the OG of the show. We need you back here, buddy.
Yeah. I think everybody just likes to tune in to see what kind of rant I can come up with.
I do like your rants. I must say
I didn't
that.
rant tonight. I didn't really rant tonight, which I'm kind of disappointed in myself about. But hey, it's whatever. Real quick, I did find some rumors that you were the whole Formula One thing with with Haas. That's I saw the Nico Hulkenberg thing, but I didn't realize that Haas Gunther gave Mick Schumacher some ultimatums on needing to finish a little bit better.
Oh man,
or he's going to lose his seat next season. So I now I see. But hey,
Haas hasn't really been delivering here. I mean they've been running decently well.
I think they catch some bad luck here and there. But I mean Kevin Magnussen does way better than Mick Schumacher does. Let's be real.
Oh yeah. Well, Mick Schumacher is still developing. Unfortunately for Mick Schumacher here, he has that last name to live up to. And
it's kind of hard to live up to that name when I'm not trying to hate on Haas, but Haas is not the best team out there.
If Mick Schumacher found himself one day in a Ferrari, which I have a feeling will happen a few years down the road, mark my words here on this show, one episode 152, Mick Schumacher will end up in Ferrari at one point in his career or another. He's going to be carrying that. You're the son of the great 7-time world champion, Michael Schumacher. We expect you to do the same, if not better, than your dad. Good luck.
Ooh.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
That's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough.
I feel like we've seen that before from somebody in racing before.
Yeah, I have a feeling we've seen that a few times in racing before.
Oh, now wait a minute. Okay, now wait a second. Okay, wait a minute here.
No, go ahead. Respond to that from Brian Stone here.
Don't listen to a bandwagon. Brian Stone just needs to leave a chat. Get out of here, Brian.
No, Brian. You can stay.
Racing.
You're more than welcome to sing.
It's not hockey. This is racing.
And make sure you guys leave the thumbs up on this episode as well, if you don't mind, if you're watching, if you have fun watching Preston get all flustered here over comments. I like it. Leave that thumbs up. All right.
Tune in next week and see what happens.
One thing to think about here. We'll get into final thoughts.
Thank you.
We'll get into final thoughts on this.
Yeah, go ahead. This is our final thoughts, Charlie.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
We are in final.
My bad.
We've been in final thoughts for the past
So
three-
Are we going to go to final thoughts?
Yeah, this is final thoughts.
Oh.
Ponder on this until next episode or whatever. How is it that a tire can come off on pit road, or on the track? Crew chief and the tire carrier or whatever, tire changer, can be suspended for 4 races, but Bubba can do what he did and only be suspended for 1 race.
I feel like that's something we should have covered during the Hey Man.
It just hit me though. So I don't know. Just think about it. Well,
I don't know, man. NASCAR is
that's a kind of a.
Well, NASCAR's been very consistent on the tire thing. If you lose that tire, crew chief, tire changer, tire carrier are suspended for 4 races. No ifs, ands, or buts. You can't fight that.
I think that's a bit too much, though, in my opinion. I think 4 races are way too many races for that.
But you gotta think a tire going really fast, of 80-pound tire going at 160, we'll say 100 miles an hour, is still going to do a lot of damage, if not to a person, to a camper, to anything, to another car, to anything. And I feel, to your point, Charlie, you make a great point. I'm not saying you don't, but I think it's just 2 separate issues. But I see your point. I mean, don't get me wrong. I see your point on that one. Let me see if we got 3 comments here before we leave here.
Final 3 coming up.
Oh no. Thanks, James. I appreciate that.
That's fair enough.
And Brian says, super double. Yeah. And Brian says 4 races overkill. Agree with that. That's an agree with Preston. But okay, that was our. Wait a minute here. Oh my gosh, it's tough if you're not looking at it and you don't have any help here. That was our show. Anything else before we wrap it up here, gentlemen? You're gonna start off with Preston. Anything else, buddy?
I reckon we're probably good.
Yeah, I think we're good.
We are good.
Probably good.
Yeah.
No, we're good.
All right.
Leave me alone.
All right, guys.
We're good.
Everybody that showed up here.
I see the caution.
I can see the end of the show.
Here, let us know what you think using hashtag what you think ITM. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here on this episode of Ramblin' About Racing. Thank you again so much for tuning in, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube Live or just catching up with us after we're done with the live show. Make sure to follow Ramblin' About Racing on all social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. For the latest and greatest of the world of auto racing, all those can be found at ramblinabout.racing.com. Make sure to go to the stores tab and support Santos Strong from Bonfire. Again, all proceeds will help go towards Catherine Santos and her family through this cancer fight that she's going through right now. I'd like to thank our partners of the show, Standard to Cancer Fanatics and Extreme Sim Racing, for all they do, not only for us here at the show, but for what they do for B.U.R.N.S Radio as well. For Charlie Hercus, Chuck 8384, Matt Beamer, M Beamer 22, Preston Lood, P_Luda, and Austin Reeves, Austin_Reeves 6. Stay safe and have a good rest of the week.